Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for our webinar, Start in September, Sell Through December, Prepare Your PPC Campaigns for Holiday Success. It's not too early to get started preparing for the holiday season now, and we're going to tell you why. So actually, after the webinar, we'll be sending out a link to the presentation and the slides on Friday actually, so watch for those as well. So I'm Mia Pruitt, and I'm joined here by Jacob Ernstein.
Hello everyone.
And we're going to be walking you through the webinar today. So as we are going through the different topics, if you do have questions, you can go ahead and type them into the chat window there in the GoToWebinar panel that you'll see there on the right-hand side of your screen. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll try to get to as many of those questions as possible. Okay, so today we'll be covering several different topics. So first we're going to start with an overview of what PPC is for those of you who may be less familiar with this channel. And then we're going to go through some different tips and tricks to get the most out of your PPC campaign this holiday season. And then we're going to walk through a holiday timeline so you know what you should be doing now versus what you should be doing in November, December to prepare. And then after all of that, we're going to get to that Q&A section we talked about. Okay, so to kick things off, let's start with that brief overview of PPC. So PPC stands for pay-per-click, and it's a type of advertising that commonly shows up on the search engine. So a search engine, of course, being something like Google, Bing, or Yahoo. And then PPC advertising is very effective because when people are actively searching for a product or service, they're going to get ads that are catered to what they're looking for and are therefore going to be very targeted. So basically you're bidding on keywords and you're going to set an ad budget, and you can place ads on the search engines to kind of talk about your products, promotions, or different services you may offer. And now we're actually going to walk through a couple of examples so you can see what they look like. So here's an example of the Google search results page for silver jewelry. So you can see here that the PPC ads are showing there at the top of the results and then also along the right-hand side of the screen there. Now we've drawn big orange boxes around them just so you can see what they look like, but of course if you do a search in Google yourself, you're not going to see those big orange boxes, but this kind of does give you a visual to see what they look like. And then we also did the same search in Bing for silver jewelry here. And you can see that the search results look very similar with that targeted ad text appearing.
And also, as you can see, the search ads take up so much of that prime real estate on the search results page. And that's really why it's so important to get your products up there, making it easy for your customers to find you in those prime search results locations.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jacob. So on both Google and Bing here, you can see that the ads did show up pretty prominently. On this screenshot here, we're seeing, let's see, 6 different ads. And the nice thing is that too, as you can see here, you can really control the messaging through the ad copy on Bing just as you can on Google. So it really gives you a chance to talk about promotions or top selling points. So if we look at the screen here, you can see that that top ad talks about 70% off. You can see the one below that talks about great deals on silver jewelry. So it really gives you a chance to talk about your messaging and what you want to say about your products. Now, hopefully these 2 examples really give you a good visual of PPC ads if you're new to this channel and really help describe what they are.
Now, you may still be asking, why are we talking about the holidays now? It's only September. Well, there's still a lot you can be doing to start preparing for the holidays now. It really is essential to start planning your holiday promotion strategy now so you aren't rushed in October and November. A little prep work now will save you a lot of headaches down the road. Also, take advantage of the early shopping some customers do. There are those shoppers out there that will start putting together their Christmas list and holiday list and will start shopping in October and early November. Have your campaigns prepared for those customers. Now, I know I'm not one of those shoppers, but some people do this, so you want to be prepared to meet them. Also, you don't have to wait until November to start creating your holiday campaigns. You can create them now, leave them paused, and then unpause them closer to the holidays. You're going to be surprised at how many things you can do to get started for the holidays now. We're going to walk through a lot of them so you know exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, and so now we're going to dive into those tips and tricks, but actually before we do, just a reminder, if you do have questions about PPC in general, anything we're going over, of course, type those into the GoToWebinar panel so we can answer as many as possible at the end of the webinar. We're already getting a couple, so thanks, guys. So now in this section, first, I'm going to walk through some tips on creating holiday messaging and kind of when to incorporate that into your campaign messaging. And then Jacob's going to be walking you through some tips on how to work smarter, not harder this holiday season. And then I'll be wrapping up our tips and tricks section by walking through a few strategies for increasing conversions. So let's start with holiday messaging. Okay, so our first step with holiday messaging is to decide what promotions you want to be running for the holidays. So you can definitely take a look at what worked well for you last year. So if you do know that a certain type of promotion worked well for you last year, you can try to do something similar this year since you know that it did work so well. Or of course, you can try something new, but if you do know that offering free shipping had a high success rate for you last year, then you may want to consider doing something similar this year. And then the next step is to put together your promotional calendar. So there may be different promotions that you'll want to run for early November versus Black Friday versus December. So you can map all this out beforehand so that way you go into the holiday season with a clear plan of action. And honestly, we can't stress this enough. So being prepared really is one of the keys to success for holiday PPC, and it's going to save you a lot of stress later on. So definitely keep that in mind. Now on the slide here too, you can see a couple of examples of promotions. The top one there talks about more generic messaging around a holiday sale on that banner that you can see there with the cute dog. And then this other banner in blue talks about a percentage off for a winter sale. And actually on the next slide, we're going to walk through a couple of more examples and talk about some different types of promotions. Okay, so here we've listed off a variety of promotion types that you can offer for your products. So of course the first one there that you can see is the common free shipping promotion, and that really seems to work well for a lot of merchants. We have a lot of merchants that we work with here at Volusion that decide to do this and really have a lot of success with it, so definitely one to keep in mind. And the next one on there, some merchants do tend to offer a buy X get Y type promotion, which can work really well if you sell products that are complementary. For example, if you sell high-end teacups, they might get a delicious tin of tea if they purchase that set of teacups. And you can also run bundles for these types of promotions as well, or for these types of products as well. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, you can offer percentages off certain products. And offering a free gift with purchase really, can also tie into the nice gift-giving spirit of the holidays as well.
And also, don't be afraid to think outside the box. Think about your customer base. If they're very socially conscious, they may really respond well to, through December 25th, we'll donate 10% of every purchase to a certain charity. However, if you know your audience is more price conscious, then maybe you should stick to that % off promotion, and that might work better for you.
Yeah, and something that also has become more and more popular lately is the 12 Days of Christmas. You might have seen, other merchants offering it as well, seen, email campaigns around it. So, that's also something you can consider doing for your store as well. So, keep all this in mind. Don't be afraid to experiment. But, I think Jacob really hit on a good point that, think about your audience and kind of think about what they would respond to. Okay, so once you have got your promotion strategy lined up, now you want to incorporate that into your PPC campaigns. So go through your campaign, and then in addition to your current keywords, you'll want to create specific gift-giving keywords. So depending on what you sell, you can kind of create keywords around that. So if you sell golf equipment, you might use keywords like golfing gifts for dads or golfing presents for dads. Whereas if you sell something like specialty soaps, you might want to use keywords like specialty soap presents or soap gift giving, stuff like that. And then once you have built out a new holiday campaign that has some of those holiday keywords, track the keyword performance throughout the holidays.
And the nice thing about PPC is you can make really quick changes. So if you see that a keyword isn't working for you or is spending too much money and not converting, pause it out and try something new.
And then also keep in mind that general keywords like gift and Christmas gift are going to cost a lot of money and not get you the targeted traffic that you're probably looking for. Just think of how many people could be bidding on those keywords. You can, of course, hop over to Google or Bing or Yahoo and do a search for those as well and kind of look at what's showing up for those. And you can see that they're going to be pretty generic, results and not necessarily are going to be targeted to what you sell. So, you want to be targeted to what you sell. And the competition on those generic keywords as well can tend to be high, which is going to make the average cost per click higher. So focus on those targeted keywords. And before we move on, we just had a question that I just want to answer really quickly. Someone asked, how do you get titles in search engines to say, for example, 75% off? Is PPC in control of the titles? That's a great question, and yes, they are. So with PPC, you really do get to have control over your ad copy, and we're actually going to talk about that on the next slide. But with PPC, you can choose what you want your title and description to say, as long as it falls within Google's requirements. Now, if you're running if you're working on SEO, that might not always be the case. But with PPC, you do have control over that, and that is definitely one of the benefits and why it is so great for the holidays. So thank you for that question. Keep them coming. Okay. Now, after creating those holiday keyword lists, of course, as we mentioned, the next step is to create the holiday specific ad copy. So you can use seasonal holiday text to kind of show that this is not your everyday ad copy and it's associated with a specific sale. So here on the side, actually, we have 3 example ads, and you can see that the top one there talks about 15% off through December 25th. The ad below that talks about free shipping on Black Friday only, don't wait until Christmas, buy now. So in that case, like both of these ads really show that they really are focused around Christmas sale, and that can sometimes make your customers really want to jump on the bandwagon, buy now, because they realize this is a limited time thing. So mentioning that holiday text can really help drive that. And then, of course, mention the promotions you're offering to your customers. So if you are offering 15% off your store on December 25th, like that top ad is, definitely mention that in your ad copy. And then third on there, test. With ad copy, it's always good to test. And subtle differences in messaging can have a huge impact on your campaign and your ads performance. So testing really is key. Okay, and then with your ad copy, carry your promotions through to your landing pages. So if you do mention a promotion in your ad, like 25% off through Christmas or December 25th, mention that on your landing page as well. So this way it's consistent. So just kind of think about the purchase process. Someone's going to click on that ad, and then they're going to arrive at your landing page, and having that promotion also talked about on your landing page is really going to reinforce that sale and hopefully get them through to purchase. Now, hopefully all this information really gives you a good starting point for your holiday messaging, and now Jacob's going to walk through our next set of tips and tricks.
Thanks, Mia. As you all know, the holidays are a really busy time of year, and worrying about all the small details of what goes into your marketing campaigns can be overwhelming and really quite kind of consuming. So we put together a few of our favorite tools that will help you save on time and really avoid repeating any tedious tasks. Now we're going to go over some of these tools to help you have smooth selling through the holidays. Okay, if you're familiar working with AdWords, you know certain tasks can be repetitive and kind of tedious. But with the right tool set, you can eliminate the repetition of tasks and really save on time. AdWords Editor is a staple tool for anyone working with AdWords. Editor is a Google tool that allows you to download your account offline and quickly and efficiently make bulk edits to your account. Not only does it have the advantage of really being faster than working in the interface, but you can also easily download and upload Excel documents for even more detailed analysis of your account's performance. Also, if you're working with Bing, Bing has an editor that is available for the Bing account as well. And while Editor can quickly make keyword adjustments, it may not serve all your needs depending on what type of keywords you'd like to use. Found.co is a tool that allows you to drop off keywords into its editor and quickly put the proper notation around them to make them exact, phrase, or broad match modified. And since Editor doesn't support broad match modified at the time, it's a quick way to make broad match modified keywords and add them to your ad groups. And if it's appropriate, the dynamic keyword insertion tool may be a great shortcut for you. For instance, if you're targeting a huge list of keywords, creating individual ads can be really time consuming. The dynamic keyword insertion feature is a great way of creating a more engaging ad for the user. Using the dynamic keyword insertion means that whatever the user searches will be inserted in the ad where you use it. Let's look at the examples here. If the keyword cannot be inserted into the ad, the word after the semicolon will be used as in the example on the screen. This feature allows you to have one ad that appears different to customers depending on their search terms, making your ads appear more relevant and useful to the different holiday-themed keywords that may end up triggering your ad.
Yeah, and dynamic keyword insertion is a tool that's been around for years. Google rolled it out, I can't remember how many years ago, but that certainly does not mean it's outdated. It's actually one of those that's so helpful to campaigns that Google has kept it around for a while, so definitely one to check out.
And another tip is, instead of changing up your current account for the holiday, spend some time to create a new campaign that will be focused on all your holiday goals. This will give you more control of your campaign and will ultimately save you time on your campaigns. For instance, by creating a holiday-specific campaign, you're going to be able to better target your desired customers. For example, you can create ads that have targeted messaging that will increase relevancy. Like the one in the slide, a holiday-specific ad may tell your customers your store is ready to meet their holiday shopping needs. Also, you can set a budget to control how much you want to spend during the holidays. At different times during the season, you may want to alter your budget, and this will give you the flexibility to quickly do so. And also, you can create a custom schedule when you want your ads to run.
Yeah, so if you notice that you convert more on the weekend, you can schedule your ads for increased bids on the weekend while still leaving your bids on the weekday kind of lower.
And also, like Mia talked about earlier, a new campaign will allow you to create unique keyword lists while leaving your original campaign intact. And finally, once the holiday season is done and you're ready to resume your non-holiday campaign, all you'll need to do is pause your holiday campaign, resume your old campaign. And best of all is you're going to have some great data that's going to be able to be used in the future to make smart changes to your account for future promotions and holiday campaigns. So a great online marketer relies on two things, intuition and data. And one of the biggest tools available for you to use is the data available in your account. Now, the wealth of paid search data is immense and can kind of be overwhelming. But knowing where to look to make your account work at its highest potential is kind of tricky, but with looking in the right spots can help maximize your account's performance. For instance, look at your top sellers and your top performing keywords. What ad position are they in? Have you experimented with either raising or lowering your bid to see if a different position will increase conversions? Or look at your search impression share of those keywords. Are you missing out on potential times your ad could be showing? And look at when your ads best convert. Do you see higher conversion rates on the weekdays, weekends? Create customized ad schedules to make your advertising dollars count most. And do you have data from the last holiday season? If you've been running your AdWords campaign since the last year, make this data work for you. Looking at your previous year's data can assist you in identifying trends, leveraging past performance, and saving on wasteful spending.
Yeah, and this is one of the benefits of setting up a separate holiday campaign like Jacob just talked about. So if you do have a separate campaign, it's really going to make it easy to go back and look at the past holiday season. So we really recommend doing that.
Exactly, and you can look at areas you can improve in. If you miss out on potential clicks and conversions due to a limited budget, were you properly targeting your mobile users? If you saw that your customers were not converting on mobile, you might consider lowering your bids on mobile devices.
Yeah, and I just want to break in really quick because we have another question that's really related to this. So someone asked, when using PPC, what percentage should go to mobile? Which is a great question. And that's something that we really recommend kind of playing around with. So you might decide that you want to put a mobile modified bid of negative 50% if you want, but you might change that over time if you find you're getting conversions on mobile. And then actually something that we're going to talk about in a sec too, but cross-device conversions can be really big as well. So Jacob, do you want to talk about that a little more?
Yeah, exactly. So cross-device conversions happen. And what that is when somebody maybe finds you on their mobile device, bookmarks your site or remembers it and comes back later to either a tablet or desktop computer and eventually makes that conversion. So you're not going to see that conversion happen. It's not going to be recorded in your AdWords account, but that doesn't necessarily mean that mobile isn't eventually converting. So, and keep in mind though, mobile is a huge part of e-commerce now. In fact, Practical E-commerce, a blog, has predicted that nearly 1/3 of holiday sales will happen on mobile devices this year. And also, if you tuned in to Volusion's 2014 predictions webinar, you know that Volusion merchants experienced a 23% increase in mobile sales in Q2 of 2014. So your mobile performance is definitely a more important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, and mobile's probably only going to continue to get bigger as providers keep coming out with newer, bigger devices that make it really easier to shop and buy online. So, of course, most people out there have probably heard about Apple rolling out iPay and a larger iPhone, the iPhone 6, and that's really a great example of that.
Exactly. And one last area you might want to look into is your search query reports, where a lot of customers searching for free shipping or discounted to find your store. If these are promotion or offers your store is running, include this type of language in your ad text, or you might consider using it on other marketing channels such as your social or your on-page content. And lastly, even if you don't have data from the previous year, if you've been running AdWords for just a little while, a few months of data can glean insight and decisions that can have a positive effect on your account. It's just knowing where to look. Okay, if now you're thinking, I'd love to create, really specific campaigns and ads and ad groups, but it just sounds like it would be too time-consuming, then you might want to consider dynamic search ads. They might be just perfect for you. Dynamic search ads allow you to focus on all the products on your site in just a few clicks. Dynamic search ads use Google's bots to read your pages and target your products based on the text on your pages. This type of campaign can quickly generate a lot of traffic, with the only downsides being you don't really have full control over what keywords are triggering your ads, and you're not going to be able to be as detailed in your ads as you would if you were to create a more segmented, focused campaign.
Yeah, dynamic ads can really be a great campaign to try out, and it really works as a great complement to an existing PPC campaign. It can really help you focus on some of those additional areas that you might not be targeting with an existing PPC campaign. But if you don't have a campaign up and running, you might consider running a dynamic ad campaign on your own. But there are some things to keep in mind, as Jacob mentioned. And actually, last week we put up a blog post on the Volusion blog that talks about kind of the pros and cons and kind of what to watch for when running dynamic ads. So if you're interested, definitely go check that out on the Volusion blog.
Right, and then so if you're during the holidays, you're going to be running some promotion, and some of them might be time sensitive. So AdWords Scripts might be the perfect tool that will help you create an engaging ad for your holiday promotions. If you're not familiar, AdWords Scripts allow you to create programs that manage and automatically update your ads using JavaScript and the AdWords query language. And don't worry if you don't know any coding. The script we'll be talking about is one provided by Google and just requires a few steps to get it up and running. The countdown script is a great way to enhance your ad with the timeliness of your promotion. As you'll see, the ad on the bottom has a kind of timeline on when the promotion ends, and it will be updated every hour until the ad ends, and thus creating kind of a more engaging ad that increases the likelihood your ad will be clicked on. And just a tip, if you haven't worked with AdWords scripts before, just make sure to preview your ads before running them to make sure they're appearing as you'd like. I really hope you discovered some new tools to make your holiday campaign stress-free and sales-ready. Next, Mia is going to talk about every store owner's favorite topic, how to increase conversions.
Thanks, Jacob. I think that is every store owner's favorite topic. But before we move on, I just wanted to talk about another blog post we just put up on the Volusion blog, I think, as well last week. So if you are interested in learning more about AdWords scripts and this countdown ad script that Jacob talked about, he actually wrote a blog post that went live on the Volusion blog last week, so check that out as well. Okay, so I'm going to go now through talk about ways to increase your reach and your conversions this holiday season. And I'm going to start with something that keeps getting more and more buzz, which is remarketing. So remarketing really is a great strategy and something we have a lot of our clients do and have a lot of success with. So if you're not sure what remarketing is, it basically lets you show ads to customers who have already visited your website. So if you've ever gone to a site, kind of shopped around and then left, and then suddenly all of a sudden you notice that you're seeing ads for them appear throughout the web. In a lot of cases, that site is going to have been running remarketing ads. So, just another example, recently I know I was shopping for a new sofa, and so I started looking around different sites like Crate and Barrel, West Elm, all the different sites. And as I was shopping around, I noticed, there was this one site who all of a sudden I started seeing their ads follow me around the web. And although I haven't made a final decision, I will say I did click back to their site and definitely looked around, and they have some great products. And I don't think I would have clicked back to their site normally. So remarketing definitely works. Now, remarketing is one of those strategies that you really should start setting up immediately. So if you are familiar with remarketing, then you know how helpful it is to kind of start creating those audience lists now to get customers that you can remarket to later. So create that tag, put it on your site, and set up those lists. And then after you do all of that, create holiday-specific ads for your remarketing campaigns. So on this slide here, you can see a couple of examples. And so all three of these examples here, while they still are very holiday focused, they still talk about the brand and really let the brand shine through. So keep those image ads consistent with your branding, because you want customers to see your remarketing ads, recognize your business, so that way they'll click through and buy from you.
And also, you can use these ads in additional display campaigns since you already have them created, so you can really get the multi-use out of them as well.
Yeah, thanks for that work. Smarter, not harder tip. Okay, moving on. So our next tip here is to engage in shopping feeds. So one of the reasons this is so important is kind of that stat we have there at the top. So in 2013, 40% of holiday orders came from search queries, which means someone did a search on Google, Yahoo, Bing, and then saw something on that page, either a natural search result, an organic result, or one of the paid results, and then went through and bought. So, kind of targeting customers through search is so important, and shopping feeds is another way to do that. It's another way to have a placement on the page. So it really is a good channel for e-commerce merchants. So it's also a form of advertising, and it displays your product name, image, and price in the search results. So a little different than PPC, but it is a great complement to regular PPC campaigns, and it really can drive some of those additional conversions. So we have a lot of merchants here that we work with that run both and really have great success with both. Now, shopping feeds, how they work, they basically use a feed of your product information to decide what to show in the search results. So your product price, image URL, title, stock status, all of that's going to be fed into the shopping feeds and the engines. And then it's going to show the product image and price when being viewed. And actually on the next slide, we'll see what that looks like just to give you guys a good visual. And before I move on, I just wanted to share a quick tip as well. So especially around the holiday time, it's really important to upload a fresh feed on a regular basis, so that way Google and the other comparison shopping engines that you might be uploading to are really getting the most up-to-date information on your products. So, especially around the holiday time, if you are changing your pricing or you're adding new products to your store, you want the engines to be displaying the most up-to-date information.
And shopping feeds are a really great way to bring in those additional conversions that take up a lot of real estate on the search page. If you're running both, you're going to have the image ads as well as the text ads. Also, because it is image-based, it really is perfect for shopping and letting customers know what to expect even before they click.
Thanks. And so here's a visual now. So here's an example of what shopping results look like when doing a basic Google search. And again, we've highlighted the results here in orange just so you can see exactly what we're talking about. And on these shopping results, you can see that the product image, price, and title is shown right there. So this way customers know even before they click kind of what to expect.
And with the shopping feeds, customers are going to see what the price and product will be even before navigating to the site, getting them started on that purchase decision, even before they click or get them to their site. So it really is great.
And then, so you see this, the main page of the shopping results, but Google actually also has a dedicated shopping section that we're going to take a look at as well. So here on this next slide, you can see that this is what the dedicated shopping section looks like, and it's going to allow shoppers to drill down by brand, categories, and price. So you can see there on the left column of this page, there's price brackets, there's categories, there's brands you can drill down to, So, customers did want to drill down to a specific brand they easily could. So if someone really knew what they were looking for, so say if I wanted a Union Tools snow shovel that was in, let's see, the $40 to $90 range, all I have to do is kind of check the check boxes next to each of those options, and it would show me those results, which would be really targeted and really great, and would most likely, hopefully, help with conversions. Okay, so we do talk about Google a lot here because it does drive so much traffic. But it is good to diversify and kind of test those other channels as well. So we do have some merchants we work with where Shopzilla or Bing, really does great for them and can really drive some additional conversions. Okay, so don't forget about those other channels. Bing PPC specifically is a great way. It's great for e-commerce. It's great for shopping. So Bing is definitely something to try out. And around the holiday time, other comparison shopping channels are going to be also great to invest in, especially if your pricing is competitive. So Price Grabber, Amazon Product Ads, Bing Shopping, Shopping.com, we mentioned Shopzilla, all of those are great ones to test out. And then also, don't forget about social channels. So Facebook ads, of course, is becoming bigger and bigger. And it can help you demographically target customers. So if you kind of know, the demographics behind your customers or who you want to reach, it's a great one. And if you do have the budget to create video ads, YouTube can be a great channel as well. And actually, even if you don't have the budget to create video ads, they still accept the regular kind of static ads as well. So you can still advertise on YouTube with those as well. So there are a lot of different channels you can work with. But track all of them separately and kind of establish separate benchmarks for them. So, for example, maybe you do decide to run a Bing PPC campaign and, say it doesn't drive as many sales for you, but the conversion rate might be higher. So you kind of have a different benchmark for that. Or, you might find the opposite is true. Or, maybe on Facebook, you really want to focus on engagement. So if you really just kind of want to focus on that ad engagement and not conversions, you're going to kind of be looking at at different metrics for your ads. So it's good to set those separate benchmarks for each engine. Okay, so that's the end of our tips and tricks section. So just to kind of quickly summarize that. So first of all, we talked about working on your holiday messaging. So plan your strategy for promotions and then execute that promotion strategy through your keywords and ad copy and even your landing pages. And then Jacob shared some great tips for working smarter, not harder this holiday season. So by using tools, looking at past data, trying out AdWords scripts, those dynamic ads, all of those things can help you to be smart about your campaigns. And then look towards using remarketing, shopping feeds, and channels other than Google to increase your conversions this holiday season. And now we're going to walk through our holiday timeline so you know what to do when with your campaigns this year.
All right, so hopefully by now it doesn't seem so crazy to be setting up your holiday marketing campaign. And as you should be realizing now, the early marketer is going to get the sale. But you might be thinking, what can I get started on today? Start to plan your promotions. What will be your key messaging? Will you be offering discounts on items, a free gift with each purchase, a donation with each order? Make sure you plan your promotions carefully so you can use the best tools available. And if you do plan on running remarketing, remember, remarketing lists often take several weeks for enough data to accrue for them to be able to run. Make sure to insert the remarketing tag now and create a few audience lists. Creating those separate audience lists now will give you plenty of cushion time to have a variety of audiences to run those campaigns to. And finally, it's really never too early to start looking at your competition. Are your prices competitive? Are your sales too similar? Have other advertisers started moving in on keywords that have in the past been lucrative? Having this information ready when you're ready to implement your campaign will really be key and save you on a lot of stress. Now, in October, you're going to really start gearing up and possibly even run your first holiday sale. Remember, being proactive now can save you a lot of stress throughout the holiday season. And like we talked about earlier, every holiday you hear about someone who proudly proclaims how they finished their Christmas shopping in October. Create ads targeting these customers. Start bidding on holiday and gift-themed keywords, and think about running maybe a early bird holiday special.
Yeah, just to kind of chime in really quickly here. So actually this morning I was on Facebook And my best friend actually posted that she started her holiday shopping a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was really funny and appropriate for this webinar.
Yeah, so it's happening. People are started. It's a great time to start gearing up and getting ready. So, and another thing you can start doing in October is look at your year-over-year data and start thinking about useful ways you can utilize these insights. Did most of your customers shop between certain hours on certain days? Or maybe you saw an uptick in sales last year, the final days before Christmas shipping was guaranteed. Make a list of the changes you'd like to test and when you should have them implemented by. And finally, you can use your analytics data as an additional sort of insight. Looking at how different landing pages convert can be a great tool to either revamp some of your holiday landing pages you may be planning or use different landing pages to test your PPC traffic to see if that'll help in increasing conversions.
Okay, and we've been getting some great questions, so keep them coming. And then once you have been proactive in October, you'll want to use November for ramping up. So there is a lot to still do and to watch for, but if you have planned correctly, hopefully everything will fall into place and save you a lot of stress. So, the first thing, if you haven't yet, launch your remarketing ads close to the start of the month so that way you're marketing to past site visitors. And then also get your shopping feeds up and running and launch any campaigns that you've decided to run on other channels. So if you can do this earlier, I think Jacob mentioned this on one of his slides as well. But really the latest you should be doing this is at the start of November, so do that as soon as possible. And then review your PPC ad and keyword performance. So you might consider increasing bids throughout the month for higher positioning. And then kind of similarly, ramp up your daily budgets as needed since there will be a higher amount of searchers and shoppers. And of course, around Black Friday and Cyber Monday, keep a close watch on your campaigns and ad spend. So this can help you see if your ads are running out of budget midday, and if so, you can make adjustments to your campaigns as needed because no one wants their campaign to be turned off midday on Black Friday. So definitely good to keep a close eye on that. And then in December, the key is to monitor campaigns closely. So you want to kind of carry over what you were thinking about with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and carry that through to December. So, check for ad position changes because other people are also going to be ramping up as well. So keep an eye on if your ad ranking is decreasing as more and more advertisers are bidding over the holidays. And then look at the last ship date for your store and last order date. And modify your ads and website as needed so that way orders can get to customers before Christmas. So, if you do know that the last date someone can really order from your store to get their what they ordered in time for Christmas is December 10th, talk about that in your ads, mention that on your website so that way you have happy customers and people are able to get what they ordered in time for Christmas. And then check on the campaigns frequently to make sure everything is going smoothly and just to make sure you're not missing any opportunities. And then a small tip, so if you are a U.S. merchant selling in other countries, or if you have international campaigns, don't forget other holidays. So, there's ones like Boxing Day in Canada. You can create a specific campaign maybe targeted to Canada that talks about Boxing Day that might talk about that sale. So, don't miss out on those opportunities. And then in January, you're going to want to refresh and re-strategize for the coming year. So first of all, pause any holiday campaigns that you might have been running. So, if you did set up those separate holiday campaigns like Jacob recommended, it's going to be really easy just to go ahead and pause those campaigns and to, re-enable the campaigns that you had been running previously. And then monitor your campaign metrics throughout the start of January. Such as ad position, spend, click-through rate, because, as other people are lowering their bids after the holidays or maybe even pausing their campaigns, it might affect your ranking and your performance. So just keep a close eye on that. And then start thinking about future holidays. It's never too early to start planning. So you can prepare for President's Day, Valentine's Day, even looking forward to holidays like Easter, Mother's Day. It's really never too early to start preparing, but of course think about the ones that are coming up earlier, sooner, and kind of plan out your promotion strategy for that. Look at what worked well for you during the Christmas season and the holiday season, and kind of carry that through to the new year.
So we've reached the end, and we just want to say thank you everyone for joining us today. We've talked about a lot of things. from holiday messaging to AdWords Scripts, really plan early and get prepared. Use our timeline tips to help you know what to tackle now versus in October and November. Now we're going to go walk through some of the questions we've been getting. We've been getting a lot, but we're going to try to get to as many as possible before running out of time.
Okay, yeah, and actually before we do that, just in case you do have to pop out early, we do have some discounts we're running on our PPC services this month. So I just want to pop over to that slide. I'll leave this up for a couple of minutes just for you guys to look at the number here in case you're interested, and then we'll pop back to the Q&A slide. But yeah, thanks again so much for joining us. So now I think we're going to start answering some of the questions.
Right, so one of the questions we're seeing right now is, does setting up remarketing require changes to the analytics code? And you are going to need to add an additional piece of code, provided you can either find it in AdWords or Analytics. And Google will provide you with instructions how to set up that code, but usually it's going to be right below the closed body tag in your Volusion template.
Perfect. And another question we got is, I tried setting up shopping feeds, but Google disapproved all my products. Is there anything I can do? Short answer, hopefully. In most cases, there, hopefully is a really good solution to this. So there could be a variety of reasons why Google's disapproving your products. So it could be something simple as all your products have capitalized titles, which Google doesn't like. Or maybe your product images all have watermarks on them, or it could be something more in depth. But kind of look in your Google Merchant Center account and see if it's really showing the reasons there, and if it is, then it's it's going to give you great insight, and it's going to be really easy to fix. If it doesn't really give you any good insight in your Google Merchant Center account, you can go ahead and give Google a call. And just try to get more information on that, and that'll hopefully help you figure out, what to do, why your products were disapproved, and kind of how to move forward. We got another question here. If I don't plan on running any Christmas sales, is there anything I should still be doing for the holidays?
So yeah, even if you aren't running any Christmas sales or holiday promotions, you need to still be aware and watch your metrics really carefully. Especially at this time of year, a lot of people may pick up and start running their AdWords accounts again, and this may have an effect on how your account's performance may run. So just pay attention to those metrics. People are going to start running more and more campaigns as the holiday season picks up. So, and the next one we have here is, how many campaigns should I create for the holidays? Now, this is really going to be specific to your store. It depends on how many different promotions you're going to be advertising, how many different products you want to focus on, and really is going to depend on if you are focusing on maybe just a handful of your product, you could do one campaign and just a few ad groups, whereas if you're focusing really on the, the wealth and total scope of your store, you might want to create 10 different campaigns. So it's really going to be up to the different holiday promotions you're running.
The next question we have here is, when should I start my holiday campaign? How early is too early?
Well, I mean, it sounds like, according to your friend, it's not too early. You can start today, and you might be getting some of those holiday buyers.
That's so true. I think, kind of following the holiday timeline is a really good strategy. I think looking at, your past data now is really going to be key. To kind of, deciding what to do as the holiday season is coming up. So, you can start your holiday campaign. You can kind of set that up in Google whenever you want, and you can leave that paused as well. And then, unpause it closer when you want to kind of launch that section. So you can start whenever, basically.
Okay, and another question we have here is how to target a specific area, city, region that serves a business that is has a local store. So if you do have a physical location as well as your e-commerce store, what you can do is do a geo-targeted campaign. Now this is going to be found just in the campaign settings there. You'll be able to go in and select the area down to the zip code if you'd like, of where you would like your campaign to run specifically. And that's a great way to drive people not only to your e-commerce site, but also to your local business if that's something you have as well.
Yeah, and we actually also got a question, what is a good way to market internationally? And I think that kind of ties into what Jacob was talking about as well. Having, kind of setting up geo-targeted campaigns can be great. And, also think about, as I mentioned before, think about holidays that, might be in other countries that maybe we don't celebrate here in the US, that you can market to as well. So yeah, just setting up those geo-targeted campaigns especially can be really big.
Right, so we have a question, how do I know which holiday keywords are too generic? Now, this is going to be really specific around the type of products you sell, and if the keywords you're using really don't describe the type of products or service that your store is using, you're probably they may be too generic. Quick way to kind of discover this is if you have a keyword you'd like to target, you might want to do a quick search for it on Google and see what other results are coming up. If you would fit in on the page there, it may be a good keyword for you to target. If not so much, you might want to avoid it.
And then our next question here, I tried running PPC in the past, but I didn't get any sales. Should I still do holiday campaigns? That's a great question. So one thing to keep in mind is PPC can drive sales through other channels. If people might be searching for your site via, and they might be clicking on the PPC ads, and then navigating around your site, and then bookmarking it, coming back later, or coming back through an organic search later. In that case, you might not realize it's from a PPC ad, even though the PPC ad drove that first conversion. However, there are other things that could be going on. Maybe, you're spending money on too generic keywords. Your ad copy might not be, as targeted as it could be and speaking to the right customers. So you can look at things like that too, kind of looking at how you're tracking those sales as well. So, look at, is it just your PPC campaigns that aren't getting sales, or is it your site overall? In which case, maybe you kind of want to look at how people are navigating through your site, your bounce rate. Maybe you just kind of need to work on your conversion for your site overall. So that can also have an impact. So think about that. But if it is a problem with your PPC campaign specifically, changing some stuff up can be good. And if everything was right and you still weren't getting sales, you can also look at other channels like shopping feeds might, convert better for you. So, taking a look at those things as well can sometimes help drive those additional conversions.
All right, the next question we have here is how do you create a remarketing ad? Now, remarketing ads are going to be those image-based ads you see after you visit a particular website. Maybe you're shopping for shoes, and later on you see those shoes on another website while you're browsing. Now, these are going to be created in a variety of different ways, as long as you have an application that can create those image-based ads, or if you have a designer maybe who you work with. Google has kind of parameters around the ad sizes that you'll need to create. So when you start creating those ads, make sure you look at the particular ad sizes that Google allows, and just make sure, as Mia talked about earlier, the ads speak well with your brand messaging and really kind of stay in line with that. So,
okay, let's see. We have a question: is Google Analytics used with PPC? That's a great question. So Google Analytics is a great tool. And you can actually link your AdWords and Google Analytics account, which will allow information from your AdWords account to feed into Google Analytics. And so that way, you can really get more detailed information about your campaigns that you might not see in AdWords specifically. So linking up the campaigns is really, a great thing to do. And then Google Analytics is a great tool overall. There's a lot you can look at in there. And Google Analytics, they actually have this little drop down where you can click on something to see metrics for only paid traffic. So that kind of will give you more insight into your PPC campaigns as well. So we definitely recommend looking at Google Analytics. If you weren't able to watch our webinar that we did, I can't remember if it was last month or a couple of months ago about Google Analytics, you can go ahead and check that out as well to learn more about it. Short, yes, Google Analytics is used with PPC, and kind of using the tool, the two AdWords and Analytics together to analyze your campaigns can really work well.
All right. So we have a question. How much additional traffic and sales should I expect if I run a campaign on Bing? Now, this is really going to be dependent on the products you sell and the search volume that is generated for those products. So it's really going to be dependent on what you have. If you get a high volume of traffic on Google, you may find that you get not as high a volume, since Bing is generally a little bit less used search engine, but you might find a good amount of volume. Now, it just is going to be dependent on the products you have available and the search volume that is generated on Bing.
And we have a question: what is a reasonable PPC budget for a startup biz? I think a reasonable budget really is something that you have to think about. You have to think about what you're willing to spend. So there are some merchants that start out spending $500 a month because that's really what's within their budget. Whereas some people might wind up starting with $1,500 a month. I think in a lot of ways it's good to start small, but around the holiday time, you might keep in mind that you might have to have a higher than normal budget, so maybe something closer to $750 if you're really just starting out is going to be better, because it's going to allow you to as there is that increased competition, it's kind of going to allow you to kind of make sure your ads get visibility. But of course there are merchants that spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and have a very large ad budget. And we work with a lot of merchants who are in the $500 to $10,000 range, and of course merchants even higher than that. But it's really all about deciding what's going to work best for you and your business.
All right, and we have a question. This is all a lot of information and things to do. I don't have time to do all this. Which one should I focus on? Now, obviously that's going to be entirely dependent on what your goal is for the holidays. You may want to make a list and kind of look through maybe the tips and tricks or the tools we talked about and see if certain one of those would fit best with what you want to accomplish during the holiday season. So make a detailed outline of what you'd like to do, and then look through kind of what we talked about and see if there's any tips we talked about or the tools you can utilize to really make that strategy work best for you.
Thanks. Okay, let's see. I don't even have an AdWords account yet. How do I get this set up quickly? So I think this is our last question since we're almost out of time. But so let's see. So I don't have an AdWords account yet. How do I get this set up quickly? So basically, if you don't have an AdWords account yet, it's really a good idea to think about what keywords you want to target. Look at your products. Ask yourself if you're running any sales on a certain set of products, and focusing on that to start. Maybe you don't want to focus on your whole site to start. That's really going to help save you time if you do really have a more targeted campaign. And you can also use that dynamic search campaign, dynamic search ads that Jacob was talking about, to kind of help you get started as well. Okay, I think that is it. We've run out of time, but thank you guys so much for all your questions as well. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to all of them, but we got some really good ones, so thank you so much. We hope we gave you a lot of good information, and hopefully are going to get you off on the right foot to starting on your holiday campaigns. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.